everybody, my name is Kim. This afternoon we're going to talk about another personality disorder, and it's called passive aggressive disorder. Now people with passive aggressive disorder, they have a passive side. So, if someone asks them to do something, maybe run the house, to help clean up and stuff. On the passive side, they'll do it, but they start to hold resentment inside, and kind of, they're the anger, frustration, the negativity, how they feel about helping out and cleaning the house. So it's kept internally. So they're seething. This resentment, this anger, and so that's an example of the passive side of this disorder. Another way that is passive is, when a person is sarcastic. They use sarcasm. And so when they're using sarcasm, that is actually, if you really think about it, it's like sarcasm, I think, is kind of connected to passive aggressive, because people that way are sarcastic. So the sarcasm, when they're saying something sarcastic, it's a passive way of communicating that they're angry about something, or they just don't want to do something that they're being asked to do. People with this disorder, they procrastinate, and they do it deliberately. As to someone that, procrastinates, but it's not intentional. It's something maybe the person is not aware of, or a person that recognizes that they're procrastinating, and they're doing something about it. They're trying to improve that. People with this disorder, they are undecisive. They are not decisive people. These people are undecisive. So they have a hard time making decisions, important life decisions. They deliberately put that off too, by procrastinating. So, another passive example for people with this disorder is, they may be asked to do an errand, or to do a person a favor or something. The passive side, they're gonna complain about it. They're going to be cranky. They're going to be stubborn. Kind of dig in their heels. But deep down inside, they're saying, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Why do I have to do this? And so, they grapple. They're grumpy about it. They'll do it, but it's very easy to recognize that they don't really want to do it when they're complaining, and when they're just being stubborn, digging in their heels, using sarcasm, which is it is basically passive aggressive behavior. Sarcasm. You're taking a jab at a person. That's what sarcasm is. You taking a jab at a person who has asked you to do something that you don't want to do, and you don't care, about it. Okay, like, I'm going to keep this video short. People that with passive aggressive, like, there's the passive part, because they're passive, they won't kind of stand up for themselves. They would rather just avoid the problem instead of actually dealing with it. People with this disorder, like on the passive side, they are easily taken advantage of because they don't stand up for themselves, or they don't stand up for something that, that's important to them. So, yeah. Now, let's talk about the aggressive side of people with passive aggressive disorder. Now, the aggressive side, that comes out when all that resentment and all that anger and frustration that they have seething inside of, the person. And, someone's going to say, oh, can you do an errand for me? Then all that pent up anger, resentment, that grumpiness, it comes out and it's full force. It's like a tide that comes in, and really, like a tide, it's when the tide comes, it's like it comes out, when the person least expects it. And the person that's asked them to do an errand or to do a favor is, really is like, what is going on here? So that's the aggressive side. All that pent up anger and resentment, finally it comes out. That person who has this disorder will start yelling at the person, will yell at them, be very aggressive, maybe even be physically aggressive, or they'll be even more sarcastic, very cutting. Their words are, it's cutting, because it goes to that person's, it's cutting that person who's asked them to do a favor, or just if they could help tidy up an area in the place. So all that is unleashed, to the person that has asked them, to do something around the house, like to clean up or to do an errand or something, important life things. But to this person, that has the passive aggressive disorder, they're going to really see it as something that's, unreasonable, or like a burden, And people with passive aggressive, they are the type, if you get on their bad side, sometimes they're not going to just let out their anger, resentment out directly onto you. Sometimes, if someone has done them wrong, or if someone is being bullied, like if that person's being bullied, they take the bullying and they go home, and it's like they think of ways to kind of get back at that person. Ways, when that person least expects it. So they're kind of like plotting something, in the background, for no one to know or see. And so passive aggressive people who have this disorder, sometimes, yeah, they'll lash out because of all that pent up anger and resentment. But also, they can also be sneaky, to a person that has disrespected them or bullied them, and so they're in their room kind of plotting on how they can get that person back, the one who bullied them or the one who asked them, to do an errand or to clean a room in the house. And to that person with this disorder, they view it as, unreasonable and too much to ask, Now I'm going to talk quickly here of, how a person becomes that way, passive aggressive. Now, as a child, if a child has grown up in an environment where they were not allowed to express their feelings, like anger, frustration, any type of, any type of emotion that the child's family views as negative, they were told to suppress it, not to let it out, to suppress it. They were just not allowed to express those feelings, anger, frustration, being bullied, just negative things. And so when a child is raised in that kind of environment, they are going to grow up and they're going to grow up and they start developing, passive aggressive, the disorder, because they weren't allowed to, to express their feelings, to get it all out. A child in the environment, where their parents, they're against, displays of anger or negative things. And so as a child gets older and they become adults, because of that environment of not being able to, or not allowed to express anger or frustration, they kept it inside, and they just, that is how they become a passive aggressive person. And yeah, they're deliberately procrastinate, grumpy, complaining all the time, but they do it, but they don't enjoy doing that, helping out or doing something that is important. And so they will use sarcasm, kind of an indirect way of saying, I don't want to do this, this is making me angry, sarcasm. Anyway, I'm going over my time here. So that is how passive aggressive, how these people develop that in their life, passive aggressive disorder. All right, I hope you enjoy this information, and it's informative to you, and I hope you have a good rest of the afternoon, and I'm going to say goodbye.